In this video, we're going to show how the tap-in service can be used to control the Philips Hue smart light. We're not going to cover the overview of tap-in in this video. If you are unfamiliar with tap-in, please take some time to look at our introduction video, and that'll give you a good idea of how tap-in works. When we talk about integrating with the Hue, we're talking about a couple of very specific functions. From a tap-in tap, what we can do is gather the configuration of a Hue light and get the state of it. For example, what the color is currently set to, whether it's on or off, etc. And from a tap, we can also set a Hue light's colors and brightness, so we can coordinate when to turn lights on and off through the tap. And of course, as with all tap-in plans, we can integrate the Hue with the other things that the tap-in service communicates with, like text messaging, email, connecting to other IoT devices like the thermostat, like a Nest thermostat, or cameras, as well as other cloud services and news sources. So we're going to show you examples of all this. So with that, let's take a look at the list of Hue taps that are currently in our store. So here we are at the main tap-in homepage. To get access to the list of Hue taps, click on the tap store, and in the things list, just select Hue. And these are the sample taps that are currently in the store that control the Hue. And the common thing to do with the Hue is to use it as a notification mechanism. So you can set Hue color based on things like the traffic report in a specific area or the weather report. You can use other items such as your Nest thermostat, and based on its settings, set the Hue color. You can even do some kind of interesting things or crazy things, if you like. Set the Hue based on Instagram likes in your account, or even search Twitter for a specific filter topic, analyze the sentiment using a tap-in sentiment analysis place, which analyzes the words and tells how popular a particular string of text is, and then set the Hue based on that. We're going to look at one tap in detail, which is the weather forecast. This is probably, I think, one of the more useful ones. And so by looking at the detail, let's look at the process flow diagram for that particular tap. And while we're waiting for that, I will actually execute this. This tap is actually going to get a map location, and then from that map location, ask the weather API for the weather for that location. The weather API will locate the closest weather station and get the forecast for that station. We're then going to see what the forecast is, whether it's raining or cold, and set the Hue color: red if it's raining, blue if it's cold, and if everything is okay, it will turn green. And then we're going to leave that light on for 1 minute. We'll show you how to change that later, and then turn the light off. And so as you can see, I've executed this. The messages out here say the weather forecast is sunny, so we've took the path through here, which is setting the Hue green. Now I've got the camera insert pointing to the Hue that's here in my office, and hopefully you can see that the Hue did turn green based on the execution of this particular tap, and so that's and it's just turned off. So that shows this plan actually worked, and this might be useful for you, as I said, and have this execute in the morning when you get up, or before you leave the house, and by just looking at the Hue, you'll make sure that you dress warmly or make sure you carry your umbrella. So let's go in and look at this tap in more detail and try to change some things. See how we can change the settings in that. So we go into the admin function and we access the process editor. And let's look at each of these steps. As I mentioned, the first thing to do is to get a location from the map so we can call their API. And so as you can see, I've set the location for Washington, D.C. As I can set any location. So let's say I wanted to change that location to Philadelphia. I can just kind of pick a no location on a map. And again, you can zoom in as detailed as you want to pick, the location that's closest to your particular house. And again, it's just a matter of zooming in to do that. So once I do that, I call the weather API, and this is just selecting the API that gets the forecast for that location. I pass the location to that, and I'm getting the forecast period for the next 12 hours. Once I do that, I can make a decision what path to take. If we look at that, I've set a threshold here of 70. That's kind of high for cold, but you can change that to whatever you want. So if it's less than 70, it's going to take that path. We can check to see if it's raining, and once we do that, it will take that path and set it red. And just for fun, I'm going to change this right now and execute this again. This is getting the weather forecast for precipitation. That's what QPF is. As seen here, you can choose any combination of things. You can check not only temperature as we did before, but snow, wind conditions, humidity, pretty much any of these particular parameters. And in this particular case, I'm going to change to say if it is not raining, and which is setting the precipitation if it's equal to 0, then we'll take the path here. So that means hopefully when I run this again, it will take this path, show it's not raining, and it will set the hue red. Just show how easy it is to change. Now the hue place itself, if we click in that, this is just setting. You pick the hue bulb that you want to control. You want to turn it on or off. In this particular case, you can set the color with the color picker. Set it to red here. You can change the brightness and so on. So just changing these parameters will change the execution parameters when this place executes. And then I turn the bulb off after it waits for 1 minute. And again, if you want to change that to a longer period of time, just go in, change that particular setting to whatever number you want, and it will execute according to this parameter. So now that I've done that, I'm going to run it from the process editor, and I can do it by hitting test and execute. So you'll see this place execute again. Again, we've got the weather forecast in this particular place. Since it's not raining, it took the is not raining path. You can see the hue turned red. It's going to stay there for another minute and then turn off. So hopefully this has been interesting for you. As you can see, we can have a lot of different tabs that control hue based on a lot of different integration parameters. Take a look at the store at the other sample tabs, and you can see how we can use other parameters to control it, and feel free to modify those in the same way I've done here to fit whatever situation you want and to control hue exactly the way you want. Thanks for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email at the contact information on our webpage. Thanks.